This is Catalina Gutierrez, and 3 months ago, her best friend tried to get romantically involved with her. When she refused, he ended up killing her. This incident took place in Argentina. Both Catalina and her friend were 21 years old and studied together at the same college. Catalina lived with her family in a large city, the capital called Córdoba. Her mother was Eleonora, her father was Marcelo, and she also had an older sister named Lucia. The entire family was very close. Catalina and her sister were best friends, and Catalina's dream was to follow in her father's footsteps, who was a highly recognized architect in the region. So, she began studying architecture at college, where she met a boy named Ezekiel, and the two started dating. He was also a student at the same college. They seemed very much in love and were very happy together. Catalina also loved using social media. She often posted content with her family and had a significant online presence, with 100,000 followers on Instagram and over 50,000 on TikTok, where she was growing rapidly. She shared videos of herself singing, flirting, and spending time with her boyfriend, family, sister, father, and mother. She was young, happy, and just living her life. During her time in college, Catalina met another boy named Nestor, and they eventually became best friends. Nestor was not from the city. He came from Bariloche, another city in Argentina, solely to study. He arrived there alone, without friends or family, and didn't have a car to get to college. Catalina started inviting him to social events so he wouldn't feel excluded. She even gave him rides to college. Ezekiel, Catalina's boyfriend, didn't seem to mind at all, or at least, there were no reports of jealousy or discomfort. Nestor was frequently at Catalina's house, often alone with her, but no one ever suspected anything, not even Catalina herself. On July 17, 2024, Catalina and her friends were planning to go to a shopping mall to play bowling. Catalina asked her mother if she could borrow the car to go to the mall, assuring her that her boyfriend Ezekiel and other friends would be there. They were supposed to meet at night, but her mother was hesitant to let her daughters go out after dark, even though they were adults, due to the high crime rates in their big city. However, since the mall was only a 15-minute drive away, and she would be meeting her boyfriend in the parking lot before joining her friends, her mother eventually agreed. Overjoyed, Catalina got ready and sent a voice message to her boyfriend saying, "I'm leaving the house now. Wait for me in the garage because I'm on my way." Ezekiel, excited as well, waited for her in the garage. Time passed, but Catalina didn't show up. What should have taken 15 minutes extended to 30 minutes, and still there was no sign of Catalina. Ezekiel began to worry that something might have happened on the way and started calling and messaging her, but there was no response. Her friends, who were also waiting at the mall, tried to contact her but received no answers. Growing increasingly concerned, they reached out to Catalina's sister, who was also their friend, to see if she knew anything. She didn't, so she informed their parents. Panic set in, and they decided to go to the police station to file a missing person report. Ezekiel, along with the friends and family, went to the station to provide all the information they had to help the police find her as quickly as possible. By this time, Nestor had been informed about Catalina's disappearance and claimed he had no knowledge of her whereabouts. He also joined everyone at the police station. While there, Catalina's sister Lucia suddenly remembered something crucial. 2 months earlier, she and Catalina had downloaded an app to share each other's locations. Using this app, the police quickly traced Catalina's phone to a location 2 kilometers away from her house, in a neighborhood called Ampliation Kennedy. Upon arrival, the area seemed odd and gave off a bad feeling. It was somewhat abandoned with isolated spots. There, they found Catalina's mother's car partially burned. Her phone was inside. Searching the car, they discovered Catalina's body in the trunk. She had been tied up, gagged, with injuries on her face, and a mark on her neck, likely from strangulation. There were superficial burns on her body, but they were not the cause of death. Someone had placed her lifeless body in the trunk and then set the car on fire. The police ruled out robbery as a motive since none of her belongings were taken, nor were there signs of sexual assault. They quickly suspected it was a personal vendetta from someone close to Catalina. The family and friends, who were still at the station, were devastated when they heard she was dead. The atmosphere was filled with grief. Everyone was crying and screaming in despair, trying to console each other. Nestor stood out when he approached Catalina's father, vowing to find and punish whoever was responsible. The police began interviewing everyone involved. Ezekiel showed the audio messages and conversations he had with Catalina before she vanished. The friends also shared all their conversations and details of the day. When it was Nestor's turn to be questioned, he claimed he wasn't invited to the bowling outing and didn't know about the plans, which was strange because Catalina had explicitly asked her friend to invite him so he wouldn't feel left out. This discrepancy caught the investigators' attention. They requested Nestor's phone and released him temporarily but kept his phone for investigation. Analyzing his phone's location data, they found that while Nestor claimed to have been home all night, he was actually in Ampliation Kennedy at the same time Catalina disappeared. This was enough to warrant bringing him back in for questioning. During interrogation, he became nervous, contradicted himself multiple times, and even trembled. Eventually, he fell silent, looked down, and was heard whispering, "She was the love of my life," before starting to confess. The police interrupted him, advising him to get a lawyer. It turned out that on the way to the mall, Catalina received a message from Nestor asking her to pick him up because he wanted to join them. Since Ezekiel was already waiting, Catalina told Nestor to wait outside his apartment so she could pick him up quickly. However, when she arrived, he wasn't there. He then asked her to come up to his apartment. Once inside, he made advances towards her, and when she refused, he attacked her. He beat her until she was unconscious, likely strangling her afterward. Security footage from that street showed Nestor carrying Catalina's body to her car. Additional footage captured him driving the car to the location where he abandoned and burned it. After the case broke in the media, 2 women who had studied with Nestor came forward, claiming he had stalked them after they rejected his advances. One said he even attempted to assault her, but she screamed, and he backed off. They reported these incidents to their school's administration, but it was dismissed as boys being boys. The investigation is still ongoing, and there are indications that more people might be involved in Catalina's death. Notably, after abandoning the car, Nestor claimed he walked back home, which would have taken 25 minutes, but he made it in under 5 minutes, leading the police to believe he was picked up by someone else. For now, Nestor Soto is the only accused, facing a possible life sentence, the maximum penalty in Argentina.